Good afternoon and welcome to Nora's Dog Training Company. We're here this afternoon with Rhea and Rich, and what we're going to be demonstrating for you today on video is Rhea's ability to understand and respond to her formal on-leash obedience commands, the correction and the motivation that we give the dogs when we're working with them, and the training equipment that we're using. Rich is using a regular 6-foot web training leash, and he keeps the bulk of that leash folded in his right hand. That leaves his left hand free to give the correction, and the only correction that we give is a tug and release on the training collar. And that is the second piece of equipment that we're using. Rhea's going to come home with her very own training collar, and you're going to be taught how to use that properly during your follow-up training session. Now, Rhea is sitting very nicely at Rich's left, which is where all of our obedience training is done. And the first exercise that they're going to demonstrate for us is heeling. Heeling is proper walking on a leash without pulling you, and the command is Rhea, heel.
Rhea, heel.
Now at this point, Rhea has a job to do, and that is to stay even with her trainer's left leg, not forging ahead or lagging behind, always maintaining pace with you when you're walking down the street and acting like a lady, and each time that you stop your feet, she's been taught to sit automatically without being told to wait for her next command. So when you're walking her down the street and you stop to cross traffic or stop to talk to a neighbor, she should be sitting nicely at your left and waiting for her next command. And the next command that Rich is going to demonstrate is the sit-stay. The stay is a hand and a voice command. And because it is a stationary exercise, it is a one-word command. Don't use her name. The long sit-stay when you're practicing at home is for 1 minute, working up to 3 minutes. When Rich returns back to her, he will walk all the way around her, returning all the way back around as an additional distraction, back to heel position, back to where they started. And each time you return to that heel position, she expects to get another command. And that sit-stay, you're going to lengthen out the time and the distance that you're able to leave her. Start at about 30 seconds and work all the way up to 3 minutes. And since she's coming home in the middle of winter, remember that you can put this video on your computer and practice right in your house. Rich leaves her in another sit-stay. And this time, instead of returning back to her, Rich is going to do the recall or the come on command. Command is Rhea, come. And she comes in very nicely and sits in front of you, keeping her teaching her to keep all 4 feet on the floor at all times. They're heeling very nicely. Nice automatic sits. When you turn, she should turn. She should maintain pace with you. If you go faster or slower, she should do the same. And each time that you stop, she sits without being told. Rich gives her another sit-stay, calls her in, and she comes right in front and sits. And then she returns back to heel position and back sitting. So each time that you get back to that heel position, remember, she expects you to tell her what to do next. Now Rich is going to bring her up here. He's going to put her, or she's in an automatic sit. The next exercise that we're going to demonstrate is the down from a heel position. So with her seated at your left open palm, straight down toward the ground, and the one-word firm command to down, and then stay. The down stays, usually the dogs will hold longer than sit stays, so you can start out at about 1 minute, and you're going to work all the way up to 5 minutes. When Rich returns back to her, he will walk all the way around her, just as he did on the sit-stay, and that's an additional distraction for her. And then he gives her the command to heel. And he will demonstrate that down from the heel position one more time for you.
Down. Stay.
Now, all of these commands help to develop her self-control and maturity. She's adolescent, she's got a short attention span, so what we're trying to develop is her self-control. This time Richard can either return back to her or he can call her.
Rhea,
She comes in and sits very nicely. She turns and goes back to heel position. Good. Now the next exercise that we're going to demonstrate for you is your down from a distance. This is a little bit harder exercise because you're not right next to the dog. So with her seated at your left, you're going to give your stay command. You're going to walk out to the end of the leash and face her.
Down.
And you're going to use your right hand to give that down command. It's the only time you use your right hand in obedience training is when you're at a distance. Now we have demonstrated for you all of Rhea's formal on-leash obedience commands. She has learned a lot of other things too, which your specialty training that we did with her, we're going to be demonstrating when we bring her home with her new training equipment. She's come a very, very, very long way, and we're very proud of her. And thank you for choosing Nora's Dog Training Company.